Welcome to the 20-something episode of Rough Characters Podcast. I'm Philip Overby,
And I'm John Palladino.
and today we're here to tickle your funny bone. As you can tell, we're very funny people. Um, and basically, we're going to talk about humor in various forms, what we like, what we don't like, what kind of humor that appeals to us. And it can be maybe just in general or in fantasy, sci-fi, since this is a primarily fantasy and sci-fi podcast. But before we get into the main topic, John has some news. Pass it over to John.
I
Pointing
don't
this
know.
way.
This probably isn't that much of a reveal for anybody, but we are currently on June 4th as of recording this. And it's only a few days away that we're going to get the next season of Black Mirror.
Ah,
Have you seen Black Mirror?
yes. I think we've talked about this before, maybe off podcast, but
I think so too.
that was actually going to be my news for the next episode.
Oh, that's really funny.
Black Mirror. Yeah, I love Black Mirror, and
Me too.
I'm pretty
And it's been
excited.
way too long of a break between seasons.
Yeah, Black Mirror is one of those shows that, because it's like um I guess like an anthology show, none of the you don't have to keep up with anything. You just, watch the episodes, and they're like almost like little self-contained movies in a way, I guess.
Yeah, they're really good too, but the wait has been forever, and we're only getting 5 episodes, so that also kind of sucks.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I wish there was more stuff like Black Mirror. I don't understand why there's not more kind of shows pushing the boundaries of uh I guess. I mean, most of the show doesn't necessarily deal with like far-flung sci-fi ideas. Like some of the stuff is here now. Which is scary. I think
Right.
the social number episode now is a real thing, where like if you do certain things, people can give you a lower score and stuff like that. And a lot of the VR technology, or that kind of stuff, is getting more and more advanced, and of course AI is getting pretty
Right.
crazy. So yeah, I'm hyped. I just saw the announcement today. Actually, that's why I was going to talk.
Oh, that's funny. Um,
I didn't actually
yeah.
watch the trailer, so I didn't see anything about it. But
Okay. I mean, it doesn't really show that much, I don't think, but it's also really good, nice to go into like that show blind, I think, as well.
yeah, yeah, it's one of those shows. Like if you know what's going on, it's like kind of sucks. So
Yeah, it's definitely better to not know what the episode's about, I think. But I'm really excited for it because it's been for so long. And I think the last time we got Black Mirror content was the interactive movie. That
uh,
was really bad.
Bandersnatch or whatever.
Yeah, I hated that.
I didn't hate it, but I mean, yeah, I didn't love it either, I don't guess.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Interestingly enough, this is the only anthology that I like. Like, I don't
yeah,
really want to watch anthology shows generally.
I guess you never watched Tales from the Crypt.
I did not.
Yeah, so that's probably a little bit ahead of your time, I guess. Um,
I don't know. I've heard about it a bunch. But I think you might be right. It might just be Let's find out.
It was like 80s and 90s, I think.
89. I mean, so it's not really before my time. It was just one of those things I never saw, I guess. Actually looking it up and seeing the image of, I don't know what this dude is,
The
the
crypt,
skeleton
the
type
crypt,
dude thing.
the crypt keeper.
It looks somewhat familiar to me, so I'm guessing I saw it, like an episode or two, maybe somewhere along the line. But
Mhm.
it's not. I don't remember anything about it. Uh,
Well,
but yeah.
this kind of ties into the main topic. Um, one of the things about humor that I like is Tales from the Crypt was really good at this, where you would have an asshole, you'd have some asshole, right, in the episode, and he's doing shitty things and blah blah blah. And part of the humor of the show was like, some dark shit's gonna happen to the guy, and you're just waiting to see what's gonna happen. So like the it had kind of corny, campy humor sometimes, but it was like a horror show. So I always loved that kind of humor growing up, I guess. Like I'm still like a big fan of like absurd humor, like Monty Python, and then there's a new show called I Think You Should Leave, which is done by Tim Robbins, and he does really goofy like skits. And my wife watches it with me, and she's like, I don't understand any of this. This is so,
uh,
but it's just so stupid that it's funny. Like I love that's the kind of humor I like, just over the top, stupid stuff.
yeah, I actually tend to not like that a lot of the time. I liked it with Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I think, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah,
Man, it's been a long time since I've seen that. And I like some like kind of what you would call stupid funny, I guess. Like, I always thought Austin Powers was really funny. But a lot of that stuff, it has to be just right for me to like it. I think typically I find it's like stupid, right? And like that I don't like, but there are exceptions. So if it's good, it can be really funny. But I think as a general whole, I would say it's not not usually my favorite type of humor.
I think when it comes to like horror or just general comedy, humor is already kind of hard to do, but then when you go
Mhm.
into the fantasy sci-fi realm, then it gets even worse. Because like and doing humor in fantasy is like really hard, I think, because it's almost always going to be cheesy or goofy, some one way or another, it seems. Unless you go like, and I'm sure you're going to bring him up as an example because he's your favorite author, but Joe Abercrombie does humor really well, like in a
Yes.
gallows humor style. Um, so there are a lot of grimdark authors that do humor well, and even though grimdark has this reputation as being a gloomy, down in the dumps, whatever kind of genre, a lot of the grimdark authors actually use humor a lot. So
Mhm.
it's just not typical ha ha ha, you know,
It's usually
humor.
more like the sarcastic, self-deprecating, witty, or just like really dark. You know,
Yeah,
it just
Tyrion is good at that, like in the
yes.
Song of Fire and Ice, or Song of Ice and Fire, whatever the fuck it is. um, yeah,
It's
so
been
there's,
so long since the books have come out that you've forgotten the name of them.
well, it is easy to mix up fire and ice and fire. Um, so there are characters that they're not necessarily comic relief. That's just their personality, I guess. Like they're in a kind of shitty world and they just take on this kind of like, oh, what's happening now? Someone's trying to cut my head off or something. It's like they just kind of go with it. Um, sometimes the humor comes from just like the juxtaposition of stuff. So like, um, like in Joe Abercrombie's books, you have uh kind of like, I don't know what you would call them. I guess like kind of more traditional fantasy army or whatever, like the Union or whatever it's called. Um,
Right.
and then you have the more like barbarian kind of people.
Yeah.
Um, and to me, the Union people were always kind of funnier because they were kind of like, I don't know, kind of like, haha, I'm the greatest swordsman, and that kind of thing. Is like Princess Bride style almost, like,
Right.
which is a good example of like humor done well in fantasy, I think.
Yeah. True. It's a good movie.
um Willow is another one that I think is a good example. um Kind of blends dark and humor.
I've never seen Willow, which is
uh
crazy to think about, I think. But yeah, I've never seen it.
well, the movie is one of my favorite fantasy movies. But I never watched the show. It was on Disney.
it. I don't think a lot of people watched the show because they canceled it, so it must not have gone very well.
Yeah. Your camera's gone out of focus for some reason.
Great. I don't know why it likes to randomly do that sometimes. But
Maybe Willow is uh
Willow has cursed the camera.
threw an acorn at you.
Yeah, sometimes I can get it to fix itself, but I I don't know.
Oh, you use your magic.
Ah, look at that. Magic tricks.
That's just
That only works sometimes.
that's exactly what Willow does in the movie.
Is it?
He does this, and the camera focuses.
Oh, that's great.
But there's Willow, and there's this warrior, and his name's Mad Mardigan. It's played by Val Kilmer, and they play off each other really well because Willow's a little more serious minded, and Mad Mardigan is kind of, I think he would fit well like in a grim dark story. He's kind of like the uh I guess like mercenary with a heart of gold kind of character, like
Right.
Han Solo style, scruffy nerf herder kind of guy. But yeah, I used to have the action figures and everything when I was a kid. Um, but yeah, humor is hard to do, especially like, some of my stories are kind of, they're supposed to be kind of uh like if you played Dungeons and Dragons with your friends or something, and all of your friends were murder hobos. That's basically what my writing style is. It's like
Right.
they're just all trying to kill stuff and like get as much treasure and shit as they can. And I guess the humor of it comes from um, the over the topness of it, I guess, like, and the way the characters interact with each other. So I've had people tell me it's funny and that they laughed at it and stuff like that. So it's good to hear. But
Yeah. Humor
humor,
in books is so hard because you're never going to connect with everyone.
yeah, it's really just something you just have to go with. And like, I think it's funny. That's kind of how humor works, I guess. I think it's funny, so I'm going to write it. And then if people say
Right.
that was dumb, then okay, it didn't work for you. Um, so I tend to not like, um, yeah, if it feels really forced. Like if two characters are talking and they're like, "Boy, you sure did wake up late this morning. What were you doing?" It's like, "Well, I had too much ale." Oh, that's just like you to drink too much ale.
Yeah,
I don't know that I see that kind of stuff sometimes. And it's just like,
it's bad. It's bad.
is it supposed to be funny? I don't know. Like people
So
scolding each other is funny or something. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. How about this type of humor? Because I think that this type of humor works really well for a very small amount of time, and then I can't stand it. And that is like the Marvel type humor where it's like constant quips and stuff. But like
Yeah.
I that's why I don't watch Marvel movies for the most part. It's like I think they're so stupid because of their humor, and it's just like it gets really old. But that type of humor can be really funny sometimes. But I just think it's so overused in Marvel movies that like I can't.
Well, I know what you're saying because I know people like that in real life. It's like everything you say, every little thing you say, they make a quip about it. It's just like,
Yeah.
can you just not do that? You don't have to make a little remark about everything somebody says. And 100%, well, not 100%. Almost always it's not funny. And everybody's just like, so it's kind of like totally understand that. Like the Marvel stuff, it's like everybody is trying to outquip each other, and it's just like if there's one character that does quips, you can kind of deal with it. But it's
Yeah.
just like everyone's trying to quip each other, like, and then
And it takes away the seriousness of like what's happening and it just makes it feel
yeah,
like stupid. I don't know.
yeah. I think that's what's good about some humor. Yeah, I mean, you got to have what they call a straight man. You have the funny character, and then you have the serious character, and then the humor is that the serious character is not reacting to the funny character. So that's kind of part of what's funny about it. So, comics did that for years and years, like Abbott and Costello and, all those. They would have kind of, I mean, that might be a bad example, but there was a lot of duos where you had, I guess, like Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis were kind of like that, where Dean Martin was the straight man and Jerry Lewis was kind of the goofy one. Um, so a lot of kind of humor can work that way, and it's almost like that in the Mandalorian a little bit. And I think that's what people liked about the Mandalorian was that the Mandalorian was kind of the serious bounty hunter guy, and then you know
True.
Grogu was the kind of goofy looking cute character that would do little cute things, and then it kind of played off each other that way.
Yeah.
If they were both silly, then it wouldn't work as well. Or if they were both
Right. Yeah.
serious, it wouldn't work as well. But that was part of the appeal of Grogu was that he was this little cute Yoda looking thing, and he would do little cute Yoda things.
Right. Although I do feel like a lot of the humor in that was uh like if there was something serious happening, I feel like usually if there was humor in it, it wasn't taking away from the seriousness of the situation most of the time though.
Yeah.
Um which is what I think happens with like Marvel movies a lot of the time. And so recently I read a book and I don't want to name the book because it's a smaller author.
Mm.
Uh but it's this adventure sci-fi book and the beginning is like there's a family on the ship and the ship is uh, escaping from an attack and everyone's panicking and like crying and like scared for their lives, but it keeps flipping back and forth between this like really strong emotion and then like the dumbest humor ever.
Mm.
And it like that it just makes you think like it rips you out because the humor is not fitting what's actually happening and it doesn't even make sense to be making jokes when you're this scared and like uh affected by what's happening. If you're that scared and people are like that panicked, and you're actually worried about dying, and people are like crying and stuff, you're like, that's not, you don't make jokes typically in such a panicked situation. So it just didn't like work. If you want to make jokes, you can do that, but you can't also then have try and be like a heavy emotional moment. I don't think in in that way. You can do that if you do it right, but this just, it really didn't work with this, I
Mm.
guess.
I don't know.
It was just like too cheesy of a humor thing, I think.
I don't know if this is an actual phrase, but like kind of like tonal discordance, where it's like you got two tones kind of like smashing into each other, and
Yeah,
neither
that's
neither
exactly what.
neither one works because they keep kind of stepping on each other, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly that. It just was very awkward to read, and I couldn't keep reading. Unfortunately, it was like, this is just not working.
Yeah, and I mean, like parody is another type of humor that's hard to do well. Like if you have like an existing property and you're kind of making fun of that or whatever, it can be kind of one note, um in a way.
Yes, yeah, that's true. And even good movies and stuff that do that, like Spaceballs, it's still like, even though it's really funny, it does kind of like, okay, you're like, okay, I got it. It's still really funny, but I do think that even the good parodies, it's like, all right. And there's a lot of stuff in like even Spaceballs that are like really dumb, and I don't feel like even fit the movie that well. But and I would say that of probably a lot of parodies that I've seen, it just seems like a lot of the time people try almost too hard with parodies sometimes.
I mean, I liked in Spaceballs when I was a kid. They were combing the desert with actual combs,
Oh,
and they said comb the desert for the princess or something. They're using
that
actual
part's so
comb.
funny.
And he goes, "Nothing, sir." And then the one guy goes, "We ain't found shit," or whatever.
That,
That,
no, that
that's
part was funny.
that's
I love
funny.
that. It is funny.
That's
Oh
that's
man, took me a
stupid.
minute to remember that scene, but
That's really stupid humor, but it's very funny.
it is very stupid. But like, in the moment when they say comb the desert, you know what they mean. And so when they start doing that, it's like, it's really funny because you're, I guess you're not expecting that. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Mel Brooks is one of the best people at like doing kind of like a parody or like a making fun of like a genre, and getting away with stuff that normally people would be like, that's really dumb. But he gets away with it just because of how he executes it, I guess. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of people that are really good at like Larry David. He's really good at kind of like a specific style of humor where it's like, if you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm,
I
uh,
have.
part part of the humor is that it's like he's always like stepping in shit, and then like,
Right. Yeah.
and it's going to come back to haunt them later, and then at the end of the episode, it's like, yep, they're, and then so uh I like kind of lovable asshole characters sometimes. Like Larry David's kind of like a lovable asshole character, or like Al Bundy from like Married with Children,
Oh my God. Yeah. He's one of the best.
just like a total piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you kind of feel for him in a way. Um, yeah, he was one of the few characters that was like, he never got ahead. Like even like when you thought, oh, this episode he's finally going to get recognition or he's going to get something, it's like it's always jerked away from him. And
Yeah.
that was part of the humor, is that those kind of like lovable loser kind of characters is that they always get the rug pulled out from under them, and then you're like, yeah, that's what happens. So yeah, there's so many different kinds of humor, but like, I mean, this is showing my age, I guess, but um, like a lot of the humor these days is like Instagram or TikTok humor.
uh,
And I just don't get, like, people do these like really mean spirited pranks. And I'm just like, I don't understand how that's funny. Like, hey,
uh,
we ran up and punched a guy in his head, and we said it's a prank. It's like,
yeah,
how was that?
there's that.
Why
And
is
then
that
there's
fun?
also like the obviously like skit like videos.
Yeah, yeah.
I just, I don't know. I don't get any of that humor, honestly. But I also am too old where I mean I'm not as old as you, so I'm not that old. But um I turn 35 soon, and I feel like other people my age are very into like TikTok and Instagram and stuff. And I just feel too old for it. I've tried TikTok. I've tried I just I don't understand the point in TikTok. I don't get it. I don't understand Instagram either. Man, I just feel too old for this shit.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, I have Instagram, and like the stuff that I do watch on there that's kind of funny. It's like people I follow. Um, there's this one guy that I follow, and he makes really kind of stupid humor videos. And I remember one of the first videos I saw, he does kind of like stupid but like wholesome style. I don't know how to explain it, but one sketch, he's making a sandwich, and then he says, "Hey," and then this guy's in the other room, and he goes, "Yeah," and he says, "I made you a sandwich," and his friend goes, "You made me a sandwich?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on, come try it." And he goes in the room, and he's like, "You made this for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, yeah, take a bite." And he takes a bite, and he's like, "Man, this is fucking delicious." And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm glad you like it." He's like, "Man, fucking love you." He's like, "I love you too, man." It's just like he made his friend a sandwich, and it becomes this big emotional thing. Um, but that kind of humor, it's like you can get away with it because it's a short clip. But
Right.
if it was like a whole thing, like a whole
Yeah.
show
A whole
was,
movie like that.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, you can't. So I I get some of the humor, I guess, but when it's just very short, um, if it's like in a one of these prolonged things, or like just like prank videos and stuff like that, I just don't get that. Um, and
I don't either.
that doesn't really translate well into like mediums that we consume either. Like, it doesn't translate
Right. Yeah.
into books or TV or anything.
Yeah. Especially the crime, like the prank crimes that are like, you know, stuff
Yeah,
I don't understand. Like that's not funny.
I saw one the other day where this guy, he put water in a gasoline tank and was pouring it on this old man's truck, and the old man was like, "You better fucking hope that's not real." And he was about to pull a gun on the guy. He wasn't fucking
Yeah.
around. It's like,
I don't know why people are doing this because they're going to get themselves killed.
yeah, it's
It's
like
like so stupid.
people get hurt doing stuff like that. You can't just like go up to strangers and pretend they're pouring gasoline on their car.
Yeah. There's this controversy that I've been hearing about. I don't know the dude's name, but some guy in England that's like a YouTuber
Yeah,
who pranks people, and he keeps like walking into people's houses and shit.
yeah,
Like
I saw that. Yeah,
what? Yeah, that's crazy. He needs to stop.
yeah. I think he went on Pierce Morgan and like was totally like,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, he was totally like obliterated on there. But
Yeah.
it's like it's just 15 minute it's a fame type humor. It's like you can do it for however long. I mean, there's assholes that come to Japan and like get on the train and go start playing music really loud and bah, 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 bah.
Really?
And they do it because they know most Japanese people aren't going to do anything. So they do it because they know in society here people don't like confrontation. So they do really annoying, stupid shit. And their audience thinks it's funny because like, haha, these people look really uncomfortable. It's like
Yeah,
that's funny.
yeah. It's just people being assholes for the sake of views, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, most of the humor I like, I guess, is like written, written humor. Like people actually put effort into writing it, and you know,
Right.
reality style humor or whatever. Just not into. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've talked about this enough today. So something funny I found out was that I have to fight a frost giant today, or storm
Storm
giant.
giant. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. It's not really funny.
What's going to be more funny is when the fight actually happens.
Yeah, any
All
day,
right.
any day now. Here we go. And what's even funnier is there's a unicorn standing here. Isn't that funny?
I suspect that's what I'll be fighting in the next one.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. All right. Oh, sorry. I said, what did we say for the giant?
You said frost giant, but that doesn't look like a frost. Or you said
No, it's not
storm.
frost.
You said
I
storm
didn't
giant.
mean it's a stone giant.
Oh, stone.
Yes, that was my mistake. They're right next to
Well,
each other. I read the wrong one. A storm giant has a challenge rating of 13, so that'd be a little advanced right now.
yeah, I was thinking when you said storm giant, I was like, well, I think I'm not even going to get to do anything.
Yeah, no. I meant stone giant. That was my mistake.
So that's funny because you mistaked storm giant with stone giant.
Yep.
That's pretty funny, isn't it?
For the purposes of this particular episode, it's absolutely hilarious. Otherwise, I don't know that it is funny at all. So initiative for our stone giant is 17.
Pretty sure I lost, but let's try
It's
anyway.
possible. 13. Okay, well, we'll have our stone giant move closer here. And he gets to make 2 great club attacks. This could not be great for you.
2 great club attacks. All right.
I think, holy fuck, that is not good for you.
Well, that hit
So
me.
you just, yep, yep, critical hit.
A critical hit. Are we doing double
So,
damage for critical hit?
I don't know. We have not had this happen, have we?
I don't think
What
so.
do we want to do? Do we want to even have critical damage for this?
And that's a good point. Yeah. Fuck it. Let's go ahead and do it.
Okay, how do we want to do critical damage? Do we want to roll the number that it says and then double it, or roll double the amount of dice and double the? Actually, I don't even remember if the damage is doubled. That's added to it or not. It's been so long since I played.
Let's just double the amount of double the amount of dice you would roll.
All right, so because he got a critical hit, we're rolling 6d8.
Cool.
39.
Ah, I'm dead. See, that's funny.
Oh man, I thought I picked a monster that you're going to at least survive the first round with, but then we rolled a natural 20.
It's funny because I'm dead.
To be fair, that was a very fitting ending for you on this episode. So you get a mundane item. Do you want me to do that for you?
Yeah,
Or you got it?
you can do it.
All right.
I don't even care what it is.
I have it. Well, I already had the page up, so I figured you got a blood sausage.
Well, that's appropriate because I probably just became a blood sausage.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
Pounded me into ground beef
Yeah, that was
or ground pork sausage, I guess.
quite the end there.
Well, if you want to see John fight a unicorn next time, watch the next episode. That should be entertaining. All right, well, that's the end of today's episode. I hope you laughed, cried, enjoyed all of our funny quips we made.
Yes, we're two funny individuals.
You may not know this, but we've been chosen to write a future Marvel movie together. So
That's yes. Well, I didn't want to bring that up, but now that you've spilled the beans,
yeah,
we can confirm that we are writing Spider-Man 43.
yeah. So in this one, Spider-Man is actually uh, an AI
Yeah, and we
program,
gotta yeah, yeah.
and
I think that's
we're
fine.
gonna use AI to write the script. Also, that was our plan.
Yep. Written by Philip Overby, John Palladino, and Chat GPT.
Yeah, we have to give credit to Chat GPT for this episode also, which was AI generated.
Can you imagine?
We should try that one time and see how pissed off everybody would get.
Oh man, it would be so bad. Also, it'd be
AI
kind of funny, I
generated
think.
Phil and John.
Yeah. Huh. That would be interesting.
Well, for now, we're still human. So that's the end of the episode. And John has a book out now,
It's true.
a new
I
one.
forgot about that. But yes, we have dropped Buzzard's Bowl just a few days ago. And reviews are coming in hot.
Yeah, some good reviews coming in. So John is the future of Grimdark. So check out his shit and give him money. Because
Yes,
if
you
you
know.
give him money, maybe some of it comes my way eventually. I don't know.
Who knows, right?
Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Well, that's the end of today's episode. Thanks for watching. Check out all the usual stuff if you've watched any of our other episodes. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.